Hello YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. We're going to begin this video with a little bit of levity. Now, I almost never wear t-shirts like this, but I must admit, there is something about this t-shirt that absolutely appealed to me. And I know the day's going to come when one day I'm going to be wearing this t-shirt and I'm going to encounter somebody, and maybe it's somebody who's a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, an Islamophobe, or just somebody who, to quote one of my favorite people on planet Earth, is titched in the head. And I'm just going to do this. Anyway, so with that being said, I would like to welcome you to one of my personal favorite ongoing series of YouTube videos, and that is the one where I discuss the entries, the individual entries of the Llewellyn's tarot wall calendars, and specifically the June 2020 entry. So we're going to start with the close-ups right off the bat. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the cover of the calendar. And those of you who are new to my YouTube channel, all the videos in this series will have the same calendar cover as the thumbnail. So all the 2020 months will have the cover of the Llewellyn's 2020 tarot calendar, and all the ones for 2019 have the same one, etc. And now I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the June 2020 entry. And this has a spread. Now, some of you may remember from the May 2020 video that I said that I was going to make sure that I had Llewellyn's Classic Tarot to do this spread, and I do. In fact, I remember receiving this beautiful, the copy of Llewellyn's Classic Tarot as a birthday gift back in 2019 from Oya's Girl, also known as Queen Osset. Thank you again for the beautiful, beautiful birthday gift. It made me very happy. What didn't make me happy was that my cat decided to pee on it, but that was only a few months ago. They left it alone all of last year, but you know. And I mean all of 2018, but all of last year, no, was another story. So, I'm going to talk about the Six of Swords. I'm going to share my intuitive insights about the Six of Swords. I'm going to read what the Barbara Moore wrote about it. I'm going to read her article about the sixes and unequal relationships. I'm also going to talk about one of the symbols, which is the child. Most traditional tarot decks, or most classic tarot decks, or most Rider-Waite-Smith oriented tarot decks will depict three people in a raft, and the raft has six swords, and the raft is being steered by, one could argue, the father of the group, and steering the mother and the child to their new home, or to freedom, or to a new beginning, or escaping slavery, or death, or persecution, or what have you. And I've always interpreted this card intuitively as the ending of confusion, frustration, and anxiety, being replaced by greater clarity and illumination, mentally and spiritually. I've often interpreted this card as a change of residence, and usually to a place where there's more light and more space. I distinctly remember one of the first times I received that interpretation intuitively. I said to the client that I see you moving to a house that has larger windows and they're more higher set in the wall. And sure enough, that client was already in the process of moving to a house that did indeed have more light and more space. I don't remember how many more bedrooms, but I want to say like one or two more bedrooms, but it just so happened that she was moving to a house that did have more light and more space, and the windows were larger than her previous, soon-to-be former home, and they were higher set in the walls. I was like, wow, that's deep. So, this is what Barbara Moore wrote about the Six of Swords. Sometimes we find ourselves in difficult situations that cannot be changed. In those cases, the best thing we can do is leave. Oftentimes that means asking others for help. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you smart. I'm also going to add it makes you strong. You know, I was having a conversation with a counselor earlier today, and she's a counselor at a hospital that has a very good national reputation in the United States, and even in the state of New Jersey as well. And one of the things that she and I were talking about earlier today was that, you know, as you know, men at a very young age, at little boys, they're taught to shut up and grin and bear it. And you know, I think now more than ever, especially with the prevalence of toxic masculinity, both in the straight world and in the gay world, we can no longer have that. And for those of you who are men, for those of you that are male-born men, for those of you who identify as men, now more than ever, we as men need to give ourselves permission to refrain from shutting up, to raise our voices, to speak our minds, to speak our hearts, and speak from our hearts, and to not grin and bear it. If there is a situation that is causing us harm, then we need to do what we can to remove ourselves from that situation. You know, I remember the first time that I learned about domestic violence between gay male couples, and I thought to myself, I thought we were better than that. It's the same reaction I've had whenever I find out that cats have human diseases. Like when I found out that cats can have an HIV that's feline, I was like, and leukemia and diabetes, I was like, no, they're supposed to be protected from human diseases. But that's not the case, as some of us know all too well. Anyway, so the symbol of the child. In the process of moving to a safer harbor, it is important to take care of yourself, including your inner child or vulnerable self. Keep them safe while doing what you have to do. And you know, it's not a coincidence this comes up now, because I think since the beginning of 2020, this is the third thing that I've read that speaks of healing one's inner child. And it's funny because there is an audio that Louise L. Hay recorded, I think it was roughly 20 to 25 years ago, and it's called Forgiveness, Loving the Inner Child. And it's one that I don't even remember if I ever had it. I've had a few of Louise L. Hay's audios over the years. But I think that's one that I think now more than ever I need to start working with. And I think that it is entitled Forgiveness, Loving Your Inner Child, or Loving the Inner Child. I'll make sure to include it in the description box of this video. But yeah, it's like I feel like now this is the time for me to do that. And this could be the time for you to do that too. Sixes and unequal relationships. Understanding the role numbers play in tarot helps both with learning the cards and with deepening understanding. I'm going to say that again. Actually, I'm going to have a sip of the tea that I'm drinking, and I'm going to show you the tea. Actually, I'll show you the tea now. Some of you know how much I love Twinings. This is called Twinings Focus, supports mental focus. Ginseng, caffeine-free, mango and pineapple flavored herbal tea. I want to tell you something, it does work. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the box. And I will say that ever since I began drinking it, it has caused me to experience more creativity, more insightful ideas, and it has sharpened my psychic abilities. So I definitely look forward to drinking this more often. I don't drink more than 2 a day. Like yesterday I had 1 cup. This is actually about my 2nd cup today. I had a cup prior to beginning the first video that my awesome audiovisual person and I are recording. But okay, so sixes and unequal relationships. Understanding the role numbers play in tarot helps both with learning the cards and with deepening understanding. Comparing and contrasting the 4 cards of any number shows how they are similar, which reflects the number's meaning. The differences comment on the nature of the four suits. The sixes show unequal relationships. Unequal doesn't mean bad or wrong. The Six of Swords shows someone helping someone else. Or in the case of the Six of Swords in Llewellyn's classic tarot, it shows one person helping two others. And yes, I am going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the Six of Swords from Llewellyn's classic tarot, created by, or rather written by, the Barbara Moore, and illustrated by Eugene Smith. And by the way, the two of them collaborated on, did I pull away too fast? Drake? Okay. And the two of them collaborated on the Wonderland Tarot. No, Tarot in Wonderland. Tarot in Wonderland, yes, that one. Which I have a feeling I'll be using more often over the next few weeks and months. The Six of Swords shows someone helping someone else. In the Six of Cups, an older person bestows kindness on a younger one. The Six of Pentacles shows a wealthy person sharing their bounty. The Six of Wands reminds us that heroes are in relationship with their community. The Six of Wands does indeed remind us that heroes are in relationship with their community. And I feel led to add true heroes are in relationship with their communities. Okay. Now, I'm going to read the spread. It's a 4-card spread. And yes, I do have the Llewellyn's Classic Tarot, which I really wanted to make sure that I had for this entry, even back when I first received this calendar back in January. So how to leave. Once you know you want to leave a situation, Tarot can help you prepare. Using the symbols in this card, we can create a checklist or action plan. Card number 1, the ferryman, the conscious action you take. Card number 2, the woman, your intuition and what to pay attention to in order to be safe. And make no mistake, being safe is very important. Between COVID-19 and systemic racism and everything else, being safe is extremely important. Number 3, the child, or rather card number 3, the child. The part of you that will need extra protection or care during this voyage. Number 4, the swords. Mindsets that you bring with you. Make sure you only bring ones that support rather than hinder you. And of course, with all my readings, whether in my videos or with my private clients, or with giving readings at public venues, I always go to the bottommost card for the final message card. So I'm going to shuffle the deck thoroughly, although not as much as I did before, because I already prepared them in the way that I've discussed in previous videos, where I separate the cards into piles of 5, or rather 5 piles, then 7 piles, then 9 piles, and then what I do is I shuffle them 13 times, then cut them into 3 piles, put them back together, shuffle them 13 more times, then cut them again into 3 piles, then put them back together, and then shuffle them for a final 13 times, and then I cut the deck into 3 piles, and then I put them back together again. So, I'm going to cut the deck into 3 piles, and I'm going to choose the first pile and place it above the second and the third. Okay. Now, in the interests of making this convenient for both you and me and my awesome audiovisual person, what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the card first, then I'm going to lift up the card, I'm going to pull from the top, I'm going to show all of you the card first, and then I'm going to turn it around and have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the back of the card design, and then I'm going to interpret the card. Now this is what I'm going to say about this spread before anything else. The situation could be tangible or intangible. Like, let's say you're in a position of employment that is no longer fulfilling for you. It's become soul stifling, or it's taking a toll on your body so that it's actually causing you physical harm, or if you are in a situation or in a relationship, romantic or otherwise, that is abusive, whether it's physically, emotionally, financially, sexually, psychologically, mentally, or spiritually abusive, or all of the above. And it could be a relationship that is not necessarily romantic. It could be familial. It could be community-oriented. But let's say that it is also a situation that's intangible. You know, I have come to realize that now more than ever, it is imperative that I begin to surrender and release my attachments to maintaining or holding on to control. This child needs to shut the fuck up. Archangel Gabriel, quiet this child now. Oh, okay. So like I was saying, yeah, we need to move forward. So, getting a greater grasp on my emotions when things are a little kaplunk. I'll just say that. You get what I mean. Okay, so with that being said, card number 1, the ferryman. The conscious action you can take. So I'm going to show all of you first. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up. And then once he finishes that close-up, I'm going to turn the card around. And then I'm going to have him do a close-up of the back of the card design. And then I'm going to look at the card and then interpret it. So, the ferryman. The conscious choice you need to make. 5 of Wands. So one of the interpretations that I've read over the years, one of the traditional interpretations that I've read over the years with the 5 of Wands is a mock battle. Now I've always found that odd, because when I look at the faces of the people in the 5 of Wands, they don't look like they're engaged in mock battle. It doesn't look like, oh, this is pretend. No, we're getting down. Somebody's ass gonna be beat! Beat! And you know what? Yeah, I really feel that way. I really feel that this is describing a literal battle. So, whether you are fighting for your life, whether you are in a situation that you feel could lead to your death, literally, or whether you're in a situation where now more than ever you really need to move and go and leave where you are. I think that now more than ever that needs to be considered. I am not telling people to endanger themselves. No. In fact, one of many things that I've learned from Letitia Guthrie, who co-created the Herb Crafters Tarot with Joanna Powell Colbert, is that it is imperative to stay safe. It is imperative to be safe and to be protected. And I am crystal clear that if you are in a situation that is abusive or dangerous and you need to leave and you cannot leave right this second, then I feel that you need to begin preparing for it. And that might be the conscious action you need to take, like avoiding confrontation, avoiding situations, if you can, where you could be exposed to danger. I have enormous respect and admiration for all the protesters protesting systemic racism and protesting the deaths of, among others, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, Ahmaud Arbery. And I have to stop when I think of Tamir Rice. Tamir Rice was not even 11 years old, and police broke into his home and shot him. And he wasn't even doing anything, just looking at the police officer that shot him. It's one of the reasons why I have put reading So They Call You a Terrorist, a book about the Black Lives Matter movement, on hold. After I read the ending of that chapter, I just couldn't revisit that book right now. So, I also invite you to ask yourselves, what conscious action do you feel you need to take that you have not already begun taking to leave an abusive situation, a soul-stifling, a soul-deadening situation, to begin to create and maintain lasting change for the good of all and the harm of none, so that you can move forward in all the areas of your life. Card number 2, the woman. Your intuition and what to pay attention to in order to be safe. So once again, I'm going to show all of you the card first. Wow. I just got, this is going to be a really pivotal card. Ooh, I felt that. Ooh, I felt that. Okay, okay. I'm sorry, did you do a close-up, Drake? Okay. Alright. Wow. Boy, I'm telling you, I'm like, okay. One of the biggest mistakes that I've ever made interpreting a tarot card is referring to a card as self-explanatory. It would be so easy, it would be disgustingly easy for me right now, especially as somebody who is not a white Anglo-Saxon heterosexual Protestant, somebody who is an American born of Cuban descent, somebody who is a gay man, who is a happily recovered Catholic, who is a witch, who is a person of color, whose late maternal grandmother's maternal grandmother was a black woman. It would be so easy for me to say this is what it is, but no, it's deeper than that. And it is no coincidence that right now the moon is waxing in the sign of Libra. So there is a need for divine order. There is a need for divinity. And that divinity needs to persuade and pervade. There are people that are operating from a place of complete unconsciousness. I truly believe that, well, no, I truly believe that evil exists, and I want not to believe that evil exists, and I wish really that people would stop reminding me about the possibility of evil and about the existence of evil, because I'd love to come from a place where there is no evil, where there is only good. And when I come close, even when I'm this close, when I'm almost there, somebody reminds me that evil is still alive and living in the world. And even though the word evil contains the word lie, and even though lies are illusions, and even though evil is an illusion, there are people that are absolutely body, mind, and soul committed to continuing to perpetuate the illusion of evil. And they're really good at it. They're too good at it, because I've had too much practice, in my not at all humble opinion. So, the first goddess that I thought of was Athena, because she is a goddess of strategy. She is a goddess of how to win the war. She does not want to engage in bloodshed. She does not want to kill, but she will do what she must. But I also thought of another goddess. Every good witch is taught to give this goddess wide berth, and her name is Nemesis. Although the two times that I've called on her, her name comes out as Nemesis. Nemesis. I cannot call on her a third time, because if I do, I will forfeit my life. I know this. My awesome audiovisual person from my YouTube videos knows this. My divine consort knows this. The witches with whom I work and engage in ritual work and spellcraft on a regular and semi-regular basis have confirmed this. I cannot call on her a third time. If I do, I die. And although there are things that are very important to me, I cannot afford to sacrifice my life for them. Not now. Not after what I've been through the last 2 years. I need to remain alive. I need to remain alive, because there's more that I must accomplish while in a physical body. Card number 3, the child. the part of you that needs extra protection or care during this voyage. So again, I'm going to show all of you the card first. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the card. And then I'm going to turn the card around and interpret it. The Four of Pentacles. So, your physical health and well-being, your physical nourishment, your children, if you have children, whether they look human or look like beautiful kitties or beautiful puppies or beautiful dogs or beautiful cats or any other animal companions you have. By the way, not every witch has a dog or a cat as a familiar. Some of you have snakes, some of you have parakeets and cockatoos and parrots, some of you have gerbils and guinea pigs, some of you have something else. I actually met a witch who has 2 ferrets. That was a first for me, I must admit. I only met one of them in person, but, but yeah. Ferrets. New to me. It's the Four of Pentacles, so I'm also going to say not only physical protection, but because Pentacles correspond to the feminine element, those of you who are women, those of you who were born women and are no longer women, maintain protection of your physiology, your physical physiology, your biological physiology. I'm thinking of one of my favorite trans men, Trip Richards. Now, he's become one of my favorite people on the planet as well. I never met him in person. I've only seen him online, but I love this man's energy. I love this person's energy massively, massively. He's also very easy on the eyes too, but that's another video for another day, for another channel, but I digress. Protect your money. Protect your money. Because Pentacles traditionally correspond to financial health matters. So make sure that your credit cards are available. Make sure that everything you need to have happen with your bank account is happening. Make sure that the reserves you have are protected. Make sure that anything that you need to sell, pawn, give is also protected. And who knows, you might even need to use the barter system at some point over the next few days, weeks, or months. Traditionally, as a time period, Pentacles represent years. So, but in a lot of my readings with the Sacred Tarot, they correspond to months. So I'm going to say between now and the next 4 months to 4 years from now, protecting your body, your physical health and well-being, the physical health and well-being of those creatures that you care for and defend and nourish and protect, be they human-looking, animal-looking, or something else, and your physiology. You know, I'm a 50-year-old man, and I'm a male-born man, so there are certain physiological concerns that a born woman who's 20 years of age does not have in common with me. So honor your physiology, protect your physiology. Number 4, the swords. Mindsets that you bring with you. Make sure you only bring ones that support rather than hinder you. So I'm going to say that this is about what you have going on in your gray matter. Now, some of this gray matter is helping you, some of it is not helping you. Some of it is helping you, some of it is hindering you. Some of it brings you every blessing of peace and health and plenty, and some of it makes one wonder why you're still alive and breathing. The ones you must get rid of now more than ever, the time really is now. Once again, I'm going to show all of you first. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up. And then after he finishes the close-up, I'm going to turn the card around. And then I'm going to interpret the card. Knight of Wands. You know, it's funny, it didn't even occur to me that a non-swords card would come out in the reading. But I find it interesting that swords and wands are phallic symbols. So this is about creativity. I mentioned early on in this video, or not too long ago in this video, or into this video, that ever since I began drinking the Twinings Focus Tea, I began experiencing this increase in creative ideas and in insightful creativity and in creative insightfulness. And these insights and intuition and creativity and illumination have been increasing in my life and in my consciousness. Swords and wands are phallic symbols, and in the sacred tarot, or in the symbology of the sacred tarot, phallic symbols represent creativity. So now more than ever, this is the time to create new ideas for yourself and allow yourself to act on those new ideas. If you've been thinking about launching your own business, now's the time to start planning it, start launching it. Now is the time to, hold on, I think my visual person gave me a message and I didn't get it. Did you want me to know something? Got it. Thank you. Yes, so I really feel like now more than ever it's about launching, beginning, and allowing those ideas to come up. And I'm also going to say, since swords relate to mental health, give yourself permission to acknowledge the negative thoughts, the negative mental images. You know, this year has been a very nostalgic one for me. And I've noticed that there are thoughts and memories from the past, even as recent as the beginning of this year, that have come up for me. A lot of them have been challenging, some have been downright painful, but I feel that it is my complete being's way of saying, you need to heal this on a deeper level now. So if any painful memories, if any painful ideas or images come up for you, acknowledge them and use them as an opportunity to heal on a deeper level. Your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, your psychological health, your spiritual health, and your complete being's health. The whole package. And the final message card, which is from the bottom of the deck. Once again, I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the card. And then I'm going to interpret the card. Why am I not surprised? The High Priestess card. The card that is astrologically aligned with the moon. And in magical traditions, Monday, as in today, Monday, June 1st, 2020, is the day of the moon. Isis Fortuna, you are always with us. You are the goddess of divination. You are the goddess of fate. You are the goddess of the sacred tarot. And you are the goddess who spins the wheel of fortune. So many people think the wheel of fortune is always good, but it is not always good. Sometimes it is painful, sometimes it is challenging, sometimes it is ugly. But it is always, always, always necessary. I need to have faith in you. All of us need to have greater faith in you. That you are spinning the wheel towards valuable, necessary, and much long overdue change. And that change must occur, whether we want it to occur or not. And there are some of us living and breathing in physical bodies on planet Earth that do not want to see these changes happen. And they must. Beautiful Isis Fortuna, you whom I call the great and glorious, the beautiful and blessed Osset, the ancient Egyptian goddess more commonly known as Isis. We need you, now more than ever. We really need you, and I really need you. Help us, heal us, comfort us, guide us, prosper us, protect us. Amun, Amen, and so must it be. I'm going to end the video there. But YouTube, thank you so much for honoring who I am and what I do. And Go with Goddess. Always go with Goddess. And good night.